Welcome everybody to the second episode of Red, White, and Black, your home for all things Chicago Bulls. I'm your host, That Guy Murph, and today we're going to be talking about what we've seen from the Bulls from the past week or so. First, let's talk about injuries. I have no idea what's going on right now. Maybe somebody needs to check the water, change the meal plan, or something. But we are being absolutely destroyed by these things. First, we already know Lauri Markkanen is missing extended time due to an elbow injury he suffered during training camp. Denzel Valentine is still out and we have no idea when he's going to be coming back. To make matters worse, in his first game back since having his son, Kris Dunn injures his MCL, causing him to miss 4 to 6 weeks as well. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, on the very next game, Bobby Portis goes ahead and does the exact same thing. So now, here we are, 6 games into the season, missing 4 out of our top 6 or 7 players. It's a rough way to start a season, but it's not all doom and gloom. So let's talk about some of the players who've been standing out during this time. Okay, let's go ahead and get the bad stuff out of the way first. Robin Lopez has fallen completely out of the rotation, and the Jabari Parker sign is looking worse by the day. We already knew that Jabari Parker didn't play defense, and I think we are just recently getting an understanding why. It's come out that Jabari has came into training camp completely out of shape and really doesn't have the stamina to play extended minutes at all. So when you think about it, him saving energy on the defensive end is really just because he doesn't have the energy to play, which is absolutely inexcusable, right? You're a professional NBA player. You should at the very least show up ready to do your job. So he can't, he's not, and that's why he's been moved to the bench, and that's why, his minutes are where they are right now. Now, when we add on to that, the fact that he's actually criticized the coaching staff for some of the defensive schemes when he's not playing defense. There was a very, very illuminating play against the Charlotte Hornets, the second game, where Michael Kidd-Gilchrist dove for a loose ball, and Jabari Parker just stood there and looked at him while this man squirmed to get to the ball, and Jabari Parker's just sitting there looking at him. That could have easily been a rebound he could have gotten, which could have led for additional points from us. But that typifies the type of defense that he's been playing all season. Now, if you look on the offensive side of the ball, the numbers would make you think that, he was doing pretty well. He's averaging about 16 points a game, getting 5 rebounds, shooting over 40% from the three-point line, and still shooting in the mid-40s overall. All decent numbers, but when you look at it on the court, it just looks like a mess. He's throwing up terrible shots, a lot of which he's missing, and most of his scoring is actually coming off of broken plays or cuts to the basket and at the rim. We really thought he would have been more of a three-point shooter, and that was one of the reasons why we picked him up to kind of help space the floor. While shooting it at a 43% clip, he's been really, really streaky. So, and to make matters worse, he boasts one of the worst plus-minus ratings on the team, despite playing with the bench, who's actually been outperforming the starters in a lot of these games. So, I really don't anticipate Jabari Parker being back at this point, and I'm really hoping that we can get to a point where we're seeing a lot better from him. Now, talking about the rookie Wendell Carter Jr., honestly, over the first 6 games, he's looked a bit lost, both on offense and defense. You can tell when he's out on the court that he's not quite confident taking shots. As a matter of fact, as well as he shot the 3 during the summer league, he's only taken 3 3-pointers during the actual season. So that's a little bit alarming to see, seeing as how it's such an effective part of his game. Then on top of that, you can see him just getting abused a lot of times on defense, but that's not all his fault. When we look at the team's defensive scheme, it's really putting a lot more pressure on him than he actually deserves at this point. But he hasn't been doing terribly. he's still averaging about 2 blocks per game and only about 25 minutes of game time. So that does show that his quick instincts are still there, and there's still something for us to look forward to. He has been able to finish on alley-oops, and recently has been showing a little bit more confidence in his post game. So it's something for us to keep an eye on as the season goes along. But I fully anticipate that by the end of the season, really sometime around the All-Star break, we'll see him finally hit his stride, gain his confidence, especially as he gets to spend more time on the court with Lauri Markkanen. Now, let's take the time to talk about somebody who's actually been taking pretty good advantage of the injuries that have been happening to the Bulls this season. Cameron Payne. He's actually showing some significant offensive potential and is currently averaging about 10 points, just under 4 assists per game, and he's shooting about 43% from the three-point line, which is outstanding. Now, he does still seem a little bit uncomfortable as a primary ball handler, but has really been showing his strengths as a spot-up shooter. The man has recently caught fire in these last few games, even though only one of them was a win. But it is a sign for what we may potentially be able to finally see from Cameron Payne, despite all the injuries that have kept him out these past few years. So I hope to see more development with him, and I hope, once Kris Dunn comes back, he does get the opportunity to spend more time off the ball. But I do think that we may actually have a competent bench player in Cameron Payne. Now, with that being said, let's talk about Zach LaVine. The man is a flat-out stud. He started the season by going for 30 points in all of his first 4 games, and recently had, the loss to Charlotte, only put up 20 because he didn't play the fourth quarter. And then in our victory over Atlanta that we just had, he still put up 27 points. The man is on a scoring tear. And the crazy thing about it, he's doing this so efficiently and in such a difficult situation. Now, because he's the only actual scorer on the Chicago Bulls starting lineup, teams are starting to double team him, and this man is still shooting over 50% from the field in general and still shooting just under 40% from the three-point line at the same time. He is showing himself to be an unstoppable force on offense, and I think things are going to really flourish for him once Lauri Markkanen comes back into the starting lineup, because he's going to have that much more space, and teams are going to be afraid to double team on him, because it's going to leave so much more space for somebody like Lauri Markkanen to just dominate. So Zach LaVine is very early into this season showing that he deserves the money that he got and may even potentially be worth more down the line. So I'm very, very excited with what I've been seeing from him, and I can't wait to see more going forward. Now, I know one of the things that we always talk about with Zach LaVine is his defense. While not significantly better than what it had been before, you do see plays where Zach LaVine is actually fully engaged on the defensive end, which is something we didn't see at all in his previous seasons. He still has a lot of work to do, especially when we talk about off-ball defense, but everything that I'm seeing from him shows me that he may be one of the only players besides Lauri Markkanen to take full advantage of the time that he had to improve over this past offseason. Now, with our analysis of the players being done, let's talk about the team as a whole and, where we can set our expectations now going forward. 6 games into the season, the Chicago Bulls currently hold a record of 2 wins and 4 losses. And I gotta tell you, things don't look too good for Fred Hoiberg right now. In all of the games that we've played, the team has been out-hustled. And this isn't something that should happen with a team this young. On top of that, the team looks completely lost on defense. Like, honestly, I think they go into practice and say, hey, you do whatever you want on the defensive end. It really doesn't matter that much. We're just going to try to, make the possession quick so we can go ahead and get some more buckets. Nobody seems to know where they're supposed to be in any of the different defensive sets that they've been running. Honestly, I can say I've only seen something positive from 2 players, and that's Wendell Carter Jr. and Cristiano Felicio. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, we are putting way too much weight on Zach LaVine's shoulders on the offensive end. We're not running any offensive sets to actually get him easy buckets, and we're not running any sets that are really effectively getting the other players on the lineup buckets as well. So Zach LaVine's having to shoulder all of this weight, taking all of these really, really difficult shots. Despite the fact that he's making them right now, that doesn't really look like something that's going to be sustainable down the road. Now, I will give him this one concession. missing 4 of your key players is difficult, right? You're not going to be able to operate as smooth, especially since you just spent the entire offseason game planning to have these players specifically. So I do expect that things will start to smooth out once everybody starts getting healthy, and we should be able to hit a stride by the time the All-Star break comes. Now, if we don't, I think we'll really start hearing a lot more rumors about the Chicago Bulls looking for a different coach, because at this point we do have too much talent to be as bad as the team has been this season so far. Thank you for taking the time to watch another episode. Remember, if you have anything to add, make sure you go ahead and leave a comment down below. And if you enjoyed what you saw, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe to the channel, as we'll be bringing you more content going forward. I appreciate you again and look forward to seeing you all again soon.